So another one bites the dust. Week 2, 2019 NFL season in the books. Here's my time to take a look back at the week that was, my Week 2 NFL recap. Oh, baby. Started off with thrilling Thursday night action. As Cam Newton sucked, the Panthers struggled, and the Buccaneers hold on to win on the road 20-14. Jimmy G showed up, threw for 297 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Bengals going to bungle, and the 49ers beat Cincinnati on the road 41-17. Now the 49ers sit at 2-0, potentially with playoffs in their eyes. The Lions pick off Phillip Rivers late, hold on to beat the Chargers 13-10 in what has to be considered an ugly loss for your Los Angeles Chargers. The Green Bay Packers stormed out to a 21-0 lead. The Vikings tried to storm back behind Dalvin Cook in his good day, but it wasn't enough. The Green Bay Packers hold on to win 21-16 to move to 2-0 and look to take advantage of their early favorable home schedule. Jacoby Brissett continues the fight in the absence of Captain Andrew Luck. They take it to the Tennessee Titans, kind of. He throws for 3 touchdown passes. The Colts beat the Titans again, this time by the score of 19-17. Antonio Brown makes his debut for the New England Patriots, catches his first touchdown pass from Tom Brady, and if you didn't know, they blew the Dolphins out 43-0. Ouchies. The Buffalo Bills used 21 unanswered points to jump out to a big lead in the second quarter, hold off the Giants 28-14 in a game that appears to have signaled the end, once and for all, of the Eli Manning era in Big Blue. Yeehaw. Big Ben goes down, and this time it's an actual real injury. He's done for the year. Mason Rudolph tried his best, but it just wasn't enough. The Seahawks go into Pittsburgh and hold on to win 28-26. The Cowboys' offense keeps rolling, and this could be a common theme throughout the course of the season. Kellen Moore quickly positioning himself as a potential future head coaching candidate. Cowboys beat the Redskins 31-21. Lamar Jackson keeps his hits rolling, throws for 272 yards and 2 touchdowns, and runs for 120 yards as the Ravens hold off a game-pesky Cardinals team 23-17. The Gardner Minshew era begins in Jacksonville. Ain't that exciting? Close, but not close enough. The Houston Texans managed to hold on to win, with the Jaguars going for 2 late and Fournette coming up just a teensy-weensy bit short. Texans win 13-12, and now Jalen Ramsey wants the hell out of Jacksonville. He's playing for Doug Marrone. Who the hell can blame him? Chiefs started off kind of sluggish, but in the second quarter came to life behind Patrick Mahomes and his 4 touchdowns. He throws for 440-plus yards, and the Chiefs use 28 second-quarter points to beat the Raiders 28-10. Steady Eddie Pinheiro, yay! Hits 3 field goals, including 2 from over 50 yards, including the game winner. Chicago Bears, miraculously, somehow, someway, find a way to beat the freaking Broncos 16-14. Don't even ask me how. And don't just blame the officials, because they were crappy on both sides of the ball. Drew Brees hurts his thumb, tears a ligament. He's going to be out several weeks. While it's Teddy Bridgewater time, it certainly wasn't Sunday afternoon. The Rams dominate the Saints and win 27-9. Philly's MASH unit tried the best they could, even though they were dropping like flies, almost like a body bag game on Sunday night, damn near. They tried and they tried, but they just couldn't do it. Julio Jones has 2 touchdown catches, and the Falcons get their first win of the year, beating the Eagles on Sunday night 24-20. And then in the Monday night action, what was shaping up potentially to be a really exciting battle of quarterbacks from the 2018 draft class. Instead, Sam Darnold got the kissing disease. It's Trevor Siemian time until he hurts himself and he's out for the year. Yeah, this is about as bad as it sounded. Browns go on to win 23-3, in part due to Odell Beckham Jr.'s big 80-plus yard touchdown catch late in the game. Looking at the winners and losers from the week that was, I'll start off with the winners, the San Francisco 49ers. 2-0 is 2-0. And for a team that was looking to see something out of Jimmy G, at least for 1 week, they got something out of him. They've now put themselves in a position where early on in the season they can entertain the thought of potentially being a playoff team. The Seattle Seahawks also sitting at 2-0. They're not winning pretty, mind you. They're holding on for dear freaking life, but road wins are road wins in the NFL, and those are precious commodities. Seahawks now 2-0. The Buffalo Bills also 2-0, with them winning on the road as well. Josh Allen played better in that second quarter in particular. And all of a sudden you look at the Bills and you're like, the Jets have fallen apart. The Dolphins are tanking. Second place in that division is right there, and that potentially could be good enough to put yourself in a position to make the playoffs this year. It most certainly could. Your losers, the New Orleans Saints. You lose Drew Brees for several weeks. Not the way you intended it. The Pittsburgh Steelers losing Big Ben for the season, and now they're sitting at 0-2, and we're into the Mason Rudolph era. I'm sure Minka Fitzpatrick is going to help him a bunch. But the biggest loser of the week is Eli Manning. His reign atop the franchise of the New York Giants. In his 16th season, he has now been benched for the young upstart, the 6th overall pick in this year's draft, Daniel Jones from Duke. And after all of these years, a decade and a half plus of associating the New York Giants with Eli Manning, that will be no longer. He still gets paid. It's like they knew he was going to be bad, and they just paid him a bunch of money as a charity act. Sentimentality, if you will. But I'm sure he wants to play, but he's not going to, at least not right now. It's got to be the biggest loser of the week. The top performers, Patrick Mahomes, 443 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, leads the Chiefs to a 28-10 victory off the strength of his big performance in that second quarter. The dude is just electric. Dalvin Cook, in a losing effort, had 191 total yards and a touchdown. He has come out of the gates swinging early on. If he stays healthy all year, he is going to have a monster season. Odell Beckham Jr. in his return to MetLife Stadium, 6 catches, 161 yards, the 80-plus yard touchdown catch. Browns got off the schneid, and Odell Beckham gets a little bit of a sense of revenge on the New York area. Travis Kelce for the Chiefs, 7 catches, 107 yards, and the touchdown. Again, along with Mahomes, helped to lead them to a divisional win over the Raiders. And then you got to look at the defense, special teams. You got to look at the Patriots. No points allowed. They had 7 sacks, 4 interceptions. Pretty easy to do that. Like they're playing at all Madden level, and the Dolphins are playing at rookie level because they choose to suck, and they want to. They want to. That was a pretty dominant performance. There's no question about it. As far as the 2-minute drill this week, I was going to use this as an opportunity to talk about as bad as Trubisky's been so far this year. Baker Mayfield certainly hasn't been any better. But based off of what has happened, you look at week 2 and what happened, and some big name, notable Hall of Fame quarterbacks either got hurt or looking at their time as a starter in the league potentially being done. Big Ben hurting his elbow. He is out for the year. A disaster if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially since you don't have Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell anymore. Drew Brees tears a ligament in his thumb. He's going to be out several weeks. How far do you really think the Saints are going to go? And could this potentially be Drew Brees' swan song in the National Football League? And then you look at Eli Manning. All those consecutive starts through all those seasons. And Ben McAdoo 2 years ago benches him like a moron for Geno Smith for 1 game just to go right back to him. But here he is, 0-2. The Giants, as a team, are lifeless. You could watch their games and you could see it, you could sense it, you could feel it. They just had no burst, no energy. They had no hope. And now Eli Manning, another one of those quarterbacks from that great quarterback class of 2004, is potentially looking at the swan song of his career, and he's going to be riding the pine possibly for the Giants. It's crazy how time goes by. I remember Big Ben in Miami of Ohio. I remember Eli Manning playing in the SEC at Ole Miss. That's crazy to think about, and that was at a time that LSU was the power in that conference. Alabama wasn't even a factor, really. Man, Drew Brees, under Joe Tiller at Purdue, was putting up big numbers and doing big things. And that was 20 damn years ago. Sometimes you get so caught up in this or that or the other thing, you lose perspective on time. And these are some great quarterbacks, legendary quarterbacks, and Eli Manning, but all 3 are going to find themselves in the Hall of Fame someday. These are 3 Hall of Famers who are at the tail end of their careers. And in the case of Big Ben and Eli, and maybe even Drew Brees, you have to wonder if this is it for them. And if this is it for them, man, that represents a big-time change in terms of the landscape and what we know of the National Football League. It's not very often that in one offseason you could potentially looking at losing two, if not three, future Hall of Fame quarterbacks to retirement.